Hi everyone, welcome back to Yoga with Rosie. So today we're going to be doing a 20-minute everyday stretch. This is something you can do every single day of the week or just whenever you want to. We're going to do 20 poses and hold every single pose for 1 minute each. So the whole session is going to be 20 minutes. Let's get started. So we're going to start seated on the floor with a cross-leg position. I'm going to start the timer and we're going to start off by doing some side stretches. So you can place your right hand on the floor next to you and lift your left arm up and over. Opposite side, so left hand comes down, right arm comes up and over. We're going to do this back and forth for 1 minute. I like to inhale as I come up and exhale as I bend over to the side. Find some movement here. Go at any speed that feels best for you. And back to center. Next thing we're going to do is move our neck. So you can maybe look to your right, over your right shoulder, look to your left, over your left shoulder, to the right, and to the left, to the right, and to the left. Back to center, we can look up, look down, look up, look down, look up, and look down. And we're going to draw some circles with our nose. So it might be a small circle, might be a large circle. I'm going to go 3 in one direction and let's go 3 in the opposite direction. Back to neutral, and that's all for the neck. Let's move on to our cat-cow. So if you come onto your hands and knees, with your hands underneath your shoulders and your knees underneath your hips, inhale, drop the belly, lift your gaze up. Exhale, round your spine and look down. Let's do that again. Drop the belly, inhale, look up. Exhale, round the spine and look down. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. And last exhale. The next thing we're going to do is stay in this position and work on our wrists. So you can place your hand, turn your hand under on one hand and just start to stretch your wrist. So the back of your hand is facing down, the palm is facing up. And I'm just gently rocking backwards and forwards here. I'm going to do the same on the other hand. So the right hand, the back of the hand comes down and then gently rock back and forth. We're going to find some rotation, so rotate your hands outwards until your fingers point towards your knees, and again gently rock back and forwards. Keeping a neutral spine, remembering to breathe. Bringing our hands back to neutral position, we're going to push back into a downward facing dog, and in this pose you can start to pedal out your legs, so bending one knee, straightening the other, and then swapping sides. Remembering to breathe, pressing through your fingertips, through your hands, and then through your shoulders. Finding some movement, feeling what feels good today. from here, we're going to bring our right foot up between our hands. The left knee comes down and we're here in a low lunge. So you might want to press your hands onto your knee and come up. And you're going to stay here for 1 minute. You might want to stay still. You might want to gently pulse back and forwards. You might want to experiment with your hands. You might want to bring your hands to your hip, maybe your hands in cactus arms or overhead. "30 more seconds. If it feels like it's too much, feel free to push back up and then lower back down. Next, we're going to move into lizard pose. So bring your hands down to the mat. You might want to heel toe your foot further out. And this is lizard pose. Some people might want to use blocks here. Some people might come down onto their elbows. If you want to try that, you can come down onto your left elbow first. See how that feels. You can then lower down onto your right elbow. For me, that feels like too much today, so I'm going to press back up, and this is going to be my lizard pose today. Again, you can find some movement if you want to pulse back and forwards, or you can stay still. You can even go onto the edge of your right foot and press your right hip, your right knee open. There's a couple of different options here. Remembering to breathe. We're going to slowly heel toe our foot back into the middle, press back into a runner's stretch. So your right leg straightens, your toes face upwards, and you really want to stretch the back of your leg here. Again, remembering to breathe. Pulling your right toes up towards the sky. This pose might look very different for everybody. So don't look at what I'm doing, just focus on you and how you feel. And when we're ready, we're going to come back into a tabletop position and bring your left foot forwards in between your hands. Press up into a low lunge. So again, you might want to pulse backwards and forwards, stretching your hips here. You can also play with hand positions. Maybe your hands come onto your hip, cactus arms or overhead. Find what feels good. If it feels like too much, feel free to push back and then lean back into it. When you're ready, place your hands on the mat. You might want to move your left foot further out towards the left side of the mat for lizard pose. Again, you can keep on your hands and keep your arms straight. If you don't want to lower down onto your elbows, you can start off with your right elbow this time, so lower down onto your right elbow. If that feels good, you can lower down your left elbow. I'm going to come back up again. This should be a nice hip stretch for you. Again, you can come onto the outside of your left foot, place your hand on your left hand on your left knee, and start to open your hip that way. This is a variation of lizard pose. we're going to bring our foot back into the centre and press back into runner's stretch. So your left leg is straight, your toes are pointing upwards, you're resting on your heel. Again, this pose is one that could look very different for lots of different people depending on your flexibility, depending on the day, depending on your body. So do what feels best for you. If you want to use blocks here, you can do as well. You could have blocks on the floor and press yourself up taller and have a straight spine. So we're going to press back into a tabletop position, bring our toes into touch, knees come out to the side, and we're going to go into a child's pose. So arms can stay forwards, head comes down to the mat. Remembering to breathe. Your chest might come down to the floor as well. You should feel this stretch in your lower spine, in your hips maybe, in your shoulders. This is a great pose for lots of different areas of the body. So from our child's pose, we're going to lift up, straighten our legs out and come into a Sphinx pose. So lay on your tummy with your forearms resting on the floor. Your chest is lifted, your head is lifted into Sphinx pose. Your elbows should be underneath your shoulders and your arms stretched out in front of you, your forearms and your fingers pointing forwards. Remembering to breathe. We're going to move into a shoulder stretch. So if you bring your left arm onto the floor beside you in a T-shaped arm, you can start to roll over onto your shoulder, your right knee, relax your head down, and maybe your right hand either stays in front of you or can come behind you. This is a really great shoulder stretch. When you're ready, roll back to a Sphinx pose. Extend your right arm out into a T-shaped arm. Roll over onto the right side body. Again, your left hand can either stay in front of you or can come behind you. Your left leg can come up and you can bend your knee. And we're going to stay here for 1 minute. Take some breaths. When you're ready, roll back to a Sphinx pose, and we're going to push up onto all fours and then come into a squat pose. So you might want to stand up, bring your feet more than hips distance apart, and slowly start to squat down. I personally like to bring my hands in together, press my elbows against my knees against my elbows, and this is Malasana, which is squat pose. Again, we're going to stay here for 1 minute. Maybe try and feel the tension between your elbows and your knees. You can maybe sway from side to side if that feels good. You might want to use blocks. In this pose, I like to try and keep my spine straight and my chest lifted. Gaze can either be down to the floor, at your hands in front of you, and remembering to breathe. For the next pose, we want to sit down. Bring the soles of our feet together in front of us so that they're touching and our knees are splaying out to the sides. This is Baddha Konasana. You have a couple of different options here. You can sit with a straight spine. You can also place your hands behind you, puff up your chest. This is the second option. And the third option, which is my personal favourite, is to hold onto your feet and start to lean forwards. So whichever pose you choose today, we're going to stay here for 1 minute. Okay, pressing back up. The next pose is going to be head to knee pose. So if you keep your left knee bent, we're going to extend the right leg out. Now again, you have a couple of different options. You can stay seated up like this, sitting straight. You can raise your arms up above you and fold over your right leg, if that's an option for you, holding onto your knee, your shin, your ankle. Maybe you can reach your toes. Wherever you are, we're going to stay here for 1 minute. Remembering to breathe. And when you're ready, we're going to change sides. So bend your right knee, extend the left knee, the left leg. So again, you can either stay here or you can raise your arms up with the inhale and exhale, fold forwards, holding onto your knee, your thigh, your shin, your ankle or your toes. Remembering to breathe. Don't push yourself too hard. When you're ready, we're going to come back up to neutral position. And the last pose is a supine twist. So if we lay on our backs, you can extend your left leg out in front of you, keeping it straight. Bring your right knee into your chest. Your right arm comes out to the side. Your left hand holds onto your right knee. And you can start to gently twist your knee over to the left hand side, keeping both shoulders on the floor. I'm going to change sides, so extend your right leg out in front of you, bring your left knee into your chest, hold on to your left knee with your right hand. Your left arm can come out beside you in T-shaped arms, and start to bring your left knee over to the right side, keeping both of your shoulders down. And when you're ready, we can come back to a neutral position. You can either extend both legs here and move into your Shavasana, or you can come to a seated position. Thank you so much for practicing with me today. I really hope you enjoyed today's class. If you would like to see more of my videos, I have a whole playlist full of yoga videos. Otherwise, please do subscribe for more videos. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and I will see you very soon. Have a wonderful day. Bye. Namaste.